Part 1. The WAMU-FM years, 1969 to 1978. Where to begin? The other day, I read a question posed by a writer in the Washington Post that asked, "Why is everyone so interested in living to be 110 years old when they complain there's nothing to do on a rainy Sunday afternoon?" Then I heard that scientists are on the verge of being capable of growing replacement organs with genetic information gleaned from the intended recipient without fear of rejection, possibly extending the average lifespan to 150 or even 200 years. Well, as I approached my 50th birthday in May 2000, I thought it would be worthwhile to begin to recount some of the memories I have growing up here in the nation's capital, the District of Columbia, before the years take their toll on my memory. The scientists didn't say they had a solution to the problem of failing memory. I've become more resolute in my determination to do this recently for a couple of reasons. One, I was recently elected the president of the Association of the Oldest Inhabitants of the District of Columbia. This organization is the district's oldest civic organization, founded immediately after the conclusion of the Civil War on December 7, 1865. While at first I hesitated when asked if I would consider, I later realized that so many times in my life I've been content with being number 2, that it was finally time to be number 1. I was the lieutenant of the school safety patrols at Hardy Elementary School while Ronnie Levin was the captain. While I was in line to be commander of the Western High School Cadet Corps in 1967, that year the school system decided that participation in cadets was no longer mandatory, so I turned my energies towards music. And while I was the program director for WAMU-FM at American University from 1973 to 1978, and number 2 at that helm, or microphone if you'll have it, Susan Harmon held the position of station manager, and she didn't seem to be going anywhere soon. In my 22-year-long law enforcement career, I've been fortunate to never be number 2 for very long, whether it was an assistant patrol supervisor, which was a corporal, an assistant station commander, a lieutenant, or the deputy chief of police for administration or patrol, i.e., a lieutenant colonel. I really can't complain. However, I pulled off the gloves and competed for chief of police in the fall of 1998, and together with 3 other insiders lost to a gentleman whom we all hope will turn out to be the best suited for the job. But alas, while I'm content to be number 2 in this capacity, I always poised to step up to be number 1 position should happenstance or fate require. In the late summer of 2001, I applied for the position of Chief of the United States Park Police. This would have been an intriguing opportunity, as you can see further along in my story, to bring a whole collection of interests together. Alas, that was not to be, as I was told in December that the Chief of the Raleigh, North Carolina Police Department was selected for the position. Now, as I approach the conclusion of my 24th year with the Fairfax County Police Department, I look somewhat fondly, yet apprehensively, to retiring. So it is particularly humbling to be asked to take the leadership role of the district's oldest continuously meeting civic organization, the AOI of D.C. My involvement in the AOI has rekindled in me a desire to find out more about my own heritage here in the district. In 1984, I worked for a while with my late father-in-law, George Maloon, in an attempt to trace my family's history. Our time together was rushed, and I limited my research to the Evening Star's Washingtoniana collection at the Martin Luther King Library, checking some ledgers at the Prince George's County Courthouse, and by visiting a few local cemeteries. Not having had much success in allowing myself to be distracted by the demands of work, I placed the project on hold. But 2 things related to the AOI have rejuvenated my desire to pick up where I left off. Twice a year at the AOI's monthly luncheons, the program consists of an open mic forum in which members are asked to share reminiscences. These stories are generally impromptu and actually encourage further participation because of the memories they trigger. One of the initiatives I hope to take as president of the organization is to begin recording these stories to be cataloged and maintained at the Columbia Historical Society, which is the Historical Society of Washington, D.C. Hearing these marvelous stories has not only reminded me of the oral history that my late father, Raymond Kelly Brown, recorded in the early 1970s, and my need to rewrite and edit it for clarity and posterity, but it has brought me full circle to continue my research into my family's past and to begin to record my own reminiscences. On September 28, 1999, my brother-in-law, Mike Maloon, an avid genealogist as was his father, accompanied me to the National Archives to instruct me in the finer points of genealogical research, also known as looking for needles in haystacks. My first visit was not particularly encouraging, but it provided me some ideas to refine my searches during future visits. So here begins my long overdue attempt to capture some of the sense of growing up in the district during the last half of the 20th century, as my father tried to during the first half.